Hello, everybody, and welcome to this transmission of information on the subject of a beautiful, beautiful project that Nicky and I have been putting together. We've been deeply working on the resources for this, putting it together. And let me introduce you to Nicky a little bit. Nicky is a quantum field integrator, a cosmic weaver, a template keeper, a blueprint coder. Just look at her. Just look at this, grin and smile and wonder. A channeler, a medicine woman, a ceremonialist, a therapist. But Nicky would like to be known just as Nicky, plain and simple, a wise one with a big heart. And that really is big heartedness. We've really nourished and blossomed ourselves as we've discussed this project, haven't we?
100%. 100%.
And so what we're going to offer together is something called Ascension Pathways for Self-Discovery. And what these Ascension Pathways are ways to work through key moments of life, key pathways of life, which once we have addressed them and we have empowered ourselves with them, we're able to experience life at its fullest and to live a really, truly empowered life. They're beautiful.
Very. And I'm really excited to be on this journey with you, Neil. Very excited because I think what we have created and crafted is going to facilitate a profound healing for everyone. So before we step into that, I would like to have the opportunity to introduce you, the magnificent, the magnificent Neil. How can we not honor that?
Thank you.
Neil, the hypno pathway finder, the one who is really embodied in his truth. Neil brings so many gifts with him in terms of his hypnotherapy, his sound therapy, with various sound elements that he brings forward. Neil brings exploration, curiosity in terms of personal development. He works in terms of inner child work. He really helps you get into yourself and really get into that part of you that has been hidden, that is too afraid to be seen, heard, understood. And he has a magical way, truly magical way of creating that safety to allow that to come forward and to be healed. So I am truly, truly excited to be in this co-creation with Neil. I feel that we weave quite synergistically as we come together. We have very similar paths, I think. We've explored different things, but we've had very similar paths. And it's lovely to be merging our expertise to really bring something to the collective that is going to facilitate healing in a really interesting way. And we kind of explored the word psychospiritual, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And
we looked into that, and it really is what we're doing. We're working with spirit, and we're working with creative ways of expressing spirit and the soul. And we've got to admit that the psyche is a huge part of who we are, and all of that work is in the light now. It's really there in the light for us to use and be blessed with.
100%. And in all my years of practice, one thing that I've always noticed is that if we're keeping these elements of us separate, we will always find that there will be this disharmony. And the one thing that everyone's always searching for is, what's my purpose?
Yes.
And looking at bringing this integration of these therapies where we integrate the psycho-spiritual therapies and we weave those together to create this container, it really does allow people to start to merge the experience of the body, the experience of the emotions, the thoughts, with the merging of the spirit, so we can return into this wholeness, or we can land into the safety of this wholeness.
Absolutely. And for me, it's being able to look after the spirit inside us.
Mm.
For me, this spirit is a baby, an eternal baby who is always newly born in that perfect perfection within each and every one of us. It's our blueprint. It's the part of us which is perfect, and we're here to look after it. We're human beings looking after this perfection inside us, and we're looking to navigate the pathways to be the best we can be, to look after the spirit which we want to share. The spirit is what we're sharing with the world. It's our light, and a part of that spirit exists within every single person.
Yeah.
But you have to admit there are times in life when it's difficult to see that, or it's difficult to share it. And I feel that the pathways we're working with, the themes we're working with, are there to help you resolve just that. So working with safety, for example, it's our first pathway, safety versus survival. How can we resolve ourselves back to the wonderful, blessed beings that we are inside us, and stay safe in this world and survive in this world? And what does safety and survival as a theme bring us?
And I think it's really an important theme to start with, because, you know, particularly at the moment in the collective field, there's a huge element of feeling unsafe. And even if we're in a current experience where we may be feeling safe, there's still a cellular memory response within us that is triggering and signaling to our neural pathways that we're safe now, but we may not be. It's still that's happening there. And when we start to resource ourselves with tools that enable us to always come back into that place, so no matter what's happening, you know, we've always got the internal environment, we've got the external environment, and those two are always going to be interplaying with each other. So no matter what's happening within either of those two aspects, if we can find that container within that allows us to always come into a place where we can just land and learn to hold ourselves, or to allow ourselves, you know, sometimes even the concept of allowing yourself to feel safe can be quite challenging. So if we can help the collective resource that, we can really start to change a lot of the landscape that we're currently seeing, particularly the trauma that's coming out in the collective field. And I think it's really important. Such an important element, this one.
I'm meeting with more and more people who are expressing their trauma histories, who are expressing their narrative of their trauma with me. And bit by bit, I'm being drawn to give them what's known as the safety in life. And it's also, in some lines of work, a bit of a taboo word, because as soon as you mention safety, it does throw up the opposite. It does throw up unsafety. But I'm saying that safety is something that truly needs to be explored in terms of, how does safety feel for you in your body? And in our container, in the special place that we're going to create, it's the most wonderful environment to explore the curiosity of safety. And when does safety step out of the picture for you? And what pushes safety out of the picture for you? Is it the survival instinct which overrides some of that? Experiencing and exploring those questions in the space that we're going to create is going to give you an overview, an understanding, and a wisdom of safety. So for me, when you understand the way that you behave and the way you act, and you can observe it, that gives you the wisdom of yourself. And as a first theme, safety, we're looking at giving yourself a safe space. How do you create that for yourself, and how do you carry it with you, those feelings? Because it takes at least 12 weeks, as far as I've learned, for the brain to build up the resilience and the safety it needs to deal with the effects of a complex anxiety or a complex mental strain, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's also quite an important thing to touch on there, Neil, is that, you know, those pathways have already been developed. And if all the work that we are going to be bringing forward, because we'll be running them monthly, is about helping to create new pathways. And as we create these new pathways, it allows us to be more embodied firstly embodied within ourselves, so we can come home to ourselves.
Yeah,
we can come home to ourselves in a very safe way, in a very accepting and loving way, which can be very unfamiliar for most, particularly those who have experienced trauma, complex trauma, or who are experiencing a lot of challenges. So as we develop these new pathways, then it also expands a little bit, where we can start to be more curious about all these dynamics as these new pathways start to be more developed, you know, as those synapses start to form and create new thoughts, create new behaviors, create new chemistry in the body. So that is a gradual process. And, you know, what we're going to do is, with the integration of your toolbox and my toolbox, you know, we've got lots to bring in. We will help resource individuals who are attending so that they can really work in a really empowered way to help develop these new synapses for themselves, so that they can be really empowered, embodied, and, you know, really clear.
So that spirit can ascend through you, because that's the ascension part of this. We have that spirit, divine spirit inside us. And once we clear that pathway, then the divine spirit can ascend through us and reach its source. And there we are. That's the whole purpose of this as a pathway for ascension, to allow that divine spirit within you to freely flow and to connect you to source.
Yeah. You know, I got the image as you were saying that. I got the image of, if you imagine that we were, you know, a little sapling, that we weren't in the right soil and we didn't have enough water, and we were in the wrong place, not enough light, not enough shade. And the tools that we have are going to place you in the exact place you need to be, where the soil is completely nourished and you've got the right amount of shade or the right amount of light, which will allow you to grow, develop. And as you know, reach and ascend into source, that's the fruits which come forward.
Absolutely. And that's like a beautiful, really beautiful metaphor. I love that. We'll use that, definitely.
Definitely.
Gorgeous.
Okay, so I think I mean, I love the conversation today, and I think in terms of how people can engage with us is, you know, they can attend the courses. There will be monthly courses. We'll be working on different themes. They can be
every month.
And they can be standalone. These are some questions that I think people have already asked. They can be standalone, that they contain either just one and explore it and see what they gain from it, or it can be a continuation. You know, they can attend monthly as a development program for themselves.
Absolutely. And we will repeat the pathways, you know, once we've done I think we've got 12 or maybe 15 pathways that we're going to work with. We can repeat those as well. And you can always dip into resources from any of the other sessions. We'll make meditations available, which will be recorded. We'll make information available each of the weekends. And not weekends, sorry, the Sundays, the Sunday sessions. But what we'll be working with in the Sunday sessions is we'll be combining beautiful, incredible self-development experience and spiritual connection experiences. There will be, from myself, I'll be working with gentle, nurturing sound, channeling, toning, strength, and codes through channeling. We'll be working with somatic experience, breath work, and also working with the body. And I know, Nicky, you'll be offering quite a lot as well.
Yeah. So again, very similar to you, a lot of the therapies that you do and I do are quite similar. So again, it'll be all, the somatic experience, the emotional development, the navigating of thoughts, so bringing all of that forward. And that's really stepping into working with the spiritual self as we step into that container, as you're doing the sound, stepping into bringing the quantum healing, and also bringing forward, just some transmissions from spirit as well in what's required for that container on that day. So
that's one of the things that strikes me when I work with you, your quantum healing, your coding, the anointing that you bring it's ancient, it's timeless. What you bring with your hands, what you bring with your emissions, your emanations from your eyes, your whole soul glows, and it's such a natural and nurturing experience to receive that moment with you in that quantum healing session. So people are in for a huge treat with that. It really does fill the soul and allow the spirit to shine through. There's a huge power in your vulnerability and your gentleness.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I think
people need to come just for that. We've got great themes that we're going to work with, but you know what? Just coming to be in the space and to be curious about what it is absolutely fine. Be an observer in there. You will still feel a huge healing.
Yeah. I think also I wanted to add, Neil, you and I both have been holding space for a long period of time for people. We've been taking clients either individually or in group sessions for a long time, through ceremonies, through workshops, programs. And I think that's also important that people know that, as we hold that space, there is that level of experience. And know that when you step into that, because I know that sometimes people are like, can I step into this? Will I be safe? And 100%, and I think one of the most important themes that, Neil, you and I have talked about this a lot, is this curiosity. It's a big theme for us, it's a big pillar of foundation for us, is that, can we just step into this space? Because you and I are both very curious people, everything we do is about, we absolutely sit with something and just let it expand and then bring it back in and feel how it feels.
And now we spent about an hour before this call just asking each other deep questions and going
exactly. And I think that's the most important thing, is that just come in with that curiosity for you to develop an understanding of yourself, because I think you, Neil, and we are both going to be perfect mirrors for that, because we are so curious ourselves, and we will help hold that space for individuals just to kind of play around with the theme. There is no wrong. There's nothing wrong in anything. It's just okay, so I'm feeling this now, or I'm seeing this now, and how is this going to feel, and how can I play with this?
It's heading towards the great mystery, understanding that it's in fact the experience of seeking in different pathways is just a beautiful part of life, and it brings growth. The more you seek and the more you express and experience, the greater your experience of life becomes. It just becomes everything. Why be something when you can become everything?
100%. I love that. I love that. Okay, brilliant. So I think if there's any questions, once people watch this video, if there's any questions, we'll leave some details on how they can contact us if there's any questions they have before they attend. And then once people register, there will also be an email that will go out just before the session, letting people know details about the session.
Exactly. I'm really looking forward to having this experience, you know, developed and shared through people and through you who come here to experience this, to share with everybody, you know, and it hits the collective.
Agreed. Very excited to do it.